what we're doing right now.
Perfect. Yeah, this is the two problems that I want to do right quick. So your essential question for today is how do we solve exponential word problems? So the only thing you need is word problems. Now, if you remember when I told you this yesterday, whenever we were graphing, remember when we were graphing exponential functions, there's only really two types of exponential functions, right? It's either going to be a growth or it's going to be a decay. A growth looks like this, a decay looks like that. When I talked about decay was like, for example, let's say you buy a new vehicle. That vehicle depreciates in value over time. So that's an example of an exponential decay. But growth, like say for example that you wanted to invest money and you wanted to put that in, like, let's say the stock market, that would be exponential growth because the money's growing at an exponential rate. And so that's where we're going to look at the word interest for today. Interest and exponential growth. So here's what I want you to get down. There is a formula that I want to give you, and it's also going to be given to you on the test, so you don't have to memorize it. But go ahead and take a second and write down this one formula right there. And what that says is 20,000, open parentheses, 1.15, close parentheses, to the t. All right. Now, and this looks like an exponential because if you notice, my variable t is an exponent. So this lets you know this is an exponential function. But let me give you the scenario of what this represents. It says this equation, so this equation right here, can be used to find the amount of money, so that, in other words, it's going to give me money, in dollars, that Mr. Lewis will have in his account after so many years. And we're just going to say T for years. So this equation will tell me how much money will be in Mr. Lewis's retirement account after so many years, where T represents time in years. So it says how much money will Mr. Lewis have in his account after 3 years. Well, this is very simple. All you're going to do is plug in 3 for T. That's right. So guys, grab your calculator, type in 20,000, exactly like you see it, and then do open parentheses. So 20,000, open parentheses, and then do 1.15, close parentheses, and then if you remember how to do a rooftop, it's a little rooftop button, and then do 3. So again, I'm gonna type it in right quick so I can have it also, and then multiply that by 20,000, and you should get 30,417, and I'm going to say 0.5, and so in other words, that's about $30,417.50. But that's very straightforward. So in other words, whatever amount that he starts off with, which let's say is 20,000, then after 3 years, he would have $30,000 in that retirement account, which is not too bad. But it's very simple, very straightforward. All you do is plug in the 3 into this equation. That's it. Because the equation's given to you, you've already got it. The final word problem is similar. So let me go to the next word problem. All right, guys, for the last word problem, it says, and go ahead and take a second and write down this formula. And again, it's going to be given to you, but write down this formula right here. That way you'll know what we're going to use for this problem. So this is what we call the general formula. It says the formula for finding the amount of money that you will get after so many years is given by this formula right here. It's A is equal to P, open parentheses, 1 plus R to the T. So it looks familiar to the other formula that we just saw. Well, for this one, what I notice is that it gives me this scenario. It says where A is the amount accrued. And so, guys, A basically is the amount that you end up with. The amount that you end up with. So that's how much money you end up with. All right, so the amount you end up with. So A equals P, open parentheses, 1 plus R to the T, where A is the amount that's accrued, or in other words, the amount you end up with. P represents the principal, so P stands for the amount that you start with. So whatever you actually start your investment with, that's P. And R is the rate, so R is the rate. All right, it says James invests $2,345, so that's the amount that he's starting out with for this problem. So for the value for P in this case is 2,345. So 2,345 is the amount that he starts out with. So 2,345. So that's the amount that he starts off with. It says, bless you, at a rate of 5.13%. So my rate is 5.13%. So that's the rate that he starts off with. And then it wants to know approximately how much money will he have in 5 years. So it wants to know how much money he's going to have in 5 years. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in these values into the formula. So I'm going to have A, we'll put it right here, A is equal to P, which in this case is 2345, open parentheses, 1 plus my percentage, so it's 5.13%, so 5.13%, and it's raised to the 5th power. And we're going to type this in our calculator. So you end up getting in your calculator $3,011.45, and that would be your answer for that.